What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This video has been a long time coming. I have been not so patiently waiting for a new version of FSD. The last one that I actually made a video on was 13.2.9 forever ago. Maybe like the beginning of the summer, I'm not sure. I feel like I'm one of the last people to get it. But finally, we have FSD 14.1.4. This came with update 25.32.8.16, so lots of dot releases there. This does not have like the Tron update or any of those types of things. Those are on a separate branch altogether. This is the FSD branch, and I don't know why I was so late to get it, but it's finally here. Let's take a quick run through the patch notes. I'm sure if you guys have been invested in these FSD videos, you've heard all of the improvements, but real quickly, we'll run through them. We've got added arrival options, which I'm definitely excited to check out. That's been a long time coming. You should be able to choose a parking lot, street, driveway, or parking garage, or curbside for parking. We have improved handling to pull over or yield for emergency vehicles. They've added navigation and routing into the vision-based neural network for real-time handling of blocked roads and detours. We can definitely check that out. I know of one close by. They've added additional speed profiles. I know they brought Mad Max is one of them that they added, and what's the other? Sloth, I think, is the other one. Improved handling for static and dynamic gates. Improved offsetting for road debris, tires, tree branches, boxes. Improved handling of several scenarios, including unprotected turns, lane changes, vehicle cut-ins, and school buses. Improved FSD's ability to manage system faults and recover smoothly from degraded operation for enhanced reliability. So, for example, in my case that I've had happen where the sun shines directly into the cameras here, it'll want you to take over. FSD's able to just correct itself right after that without having to re-engage everything. And then added alert for residue buildup on interior windshield that may impact camera visibility. If affected, see visit service for cleaning. Upcoming improvements include overall smoothness and sentience. That's a weird sentence. And parking spot selection and parking quality. So those are things we come to expect, and then we can just see some little things in here so we can see our arrival options, drop down, our speed profiles, chill, standard, hurry, Mad Max. I think they call it sloth though. There is some changes to the UI. I noticed that right off the bat. We've got a new button there that says start self-driving. But let's go ahead and get our destination put in. Again, we're in park here. We can just press the start self-driving. And we do have a little bit of weather. It's not torrential downpour or anything, but we are sprinkling rain here. Don't think it's going to be able to get out going that way, but we'll see. I'm just going to, let you do your thing. Yeah, there's no exit there, but one thing I'm kind of interested to see is how quickly it does everything. So I've seen a lot of videos of it adapting really quickly and doing moves a lot faster than it's ever done before. Some of these turns, you could go a little bit further, but I've just heard it's a lot more responsive overall in its kind of snappiness and decision making. So I'm really interested to see if we can get all that to play out. All right. I was a little hesitant there. It had some space and just didn't go, but it's all right. And anytime there's kind of just long, boring sections, which I'll try to avoid in this video, but sometimes it just, how the route planner goes, I'll, speed it up so it's not too boring. But anytime you're checking out new versions like this, there tend to be more interesting moments because it may do something we've never seen before, or it might do something a little silly. We'll see. And I do have the kind of cycling colors here as we're using FSD, which is neat. They also do seem to be kind of rapidly evolving this version of FSD. I know some people have gotten already 4-point updates, since they were, first adopters to this thing, early access people, which I don't have, unfortunately. But there has been plenty of time for this Subaru to go, and it is just refusing to go. So really weird. Like, it should be like, go. I need FSD to honk. It had all day to make that turn and just didn't. Full stop and go. FSD, so much more confident than real drivers, I guess. And we are in the hurry profile. I guess we can kind of test out a few of the profiles, but I probably will just always leave it in hurry. I don't think I'll ever use Mad Max just because from what I've seen, it speeds like crazy, and I feel like Hurry already speeds, but we'll see actually if it's doing that in this version or if they've adjusted all the profiles to reflect that, you know what I mean? Knocked everything down a peg since there's more variety. We've got a flashing yellow, so we'll just kind of swoop right through here. No oncoming, beautiful. And we'll get right up to speed here. Pretty sure when we use full self-driving, it's using standard ride and handling in autopilot. So we'll have the standard suspension. See, we're going 10, 11 over in this 35. 12 over in the 35, which is not great. You can change the profiles here. Let's go to standard here. Or not. Still going 12 over in standard. Like, this is one of those types of situations where I fully believe that if there was a cop sitting on one of these corners, I could get a ticket and I'd be responsible for it. Poor weather detected. All right. Because we're going a good bit over, and we no longer have our little scroll. Oh, the scroll just changes your driving or your speed profile. Interesting. Okay. We no longer have the little max speed setting thing. They took that away altogether. I guess you can just technically drop it down. Like if you're like, man, we're speeding a lot, drop it down to sloth. But like, you don't want to have to manually mess with that all the time. So. I haven't felt any of the brake stabbing yet. But again, on the lookout for that. When we did click this little button here, you can see our different destination options. So you've got park and curbside, parking lot, driveway, charger. Wow, we are flying. 52 and a 35. Okay, well, let's drop that down. I guess they did. Oh, there's chill and sloth. Okay, interesting. Like, I'm not going to go 55, 52 and a 35 or whatever the heck I was just going. That's crazy. Maybe I will stick in chill. I don't know. That was in hurry, so let's leave it in standard for now. I'm not trying to get a ticket. I don't even want to know what Mad Max is like if that's what we're doing in hurry. We're still doing the full stops. There's a little stutter. Okay, a lot of stuttering there. You could probably see that on camera. That was a lot of stuttering. I don't think it thought that blue truck was going to stop, which, to be fair, it didn't look like it was going to, but nonetheless, can't have that. So, not disengagement worthy by any means. In fact, I don't think FSD has made a disengagement worthy move that I remember in months and months and months for me. Maybe a year since we've had 13.2.9. So that was definitely not one, but just a little bit, something that needs smoothed out. Again, you're walking that fine line of like obeying traffic laws, which is coming to that full stop at that stop sign and then going, and still in real time monitoring what's going on around you. So when you've got that truck that was, barreling from our left, there's a stop sign there, but FSD has to interpret the behavior of that truck over what it should be doing with that stop sign being there, right? You're reacting, to what's actually going on, not just assuming that truck is going to stop. So while the brake stuttering is uncomfortable and feels weird, if that truck blows right through that stop sign, FSD is just saying, oh, well, there was a stop sign there, so I'm good to go. You're in trouble. So you have to walk that fine line of, reacting and then trusting the other people around you. when you're FSD. So I'm not super mad about that because it didn't look like it was going to stop. I'll have to check the footage, but I'm not even sure that it had its brake lights on. So I'm not super mad about that. All right, with the standard profile here, we're only going 5 over, which again, totally fine in my book. No one's going to pull you over. Very few people are going to pull you over for going 5 over, unless you're going, I don't know, maybe like 30 and a 25 in a neighborhood or something. But even then, you got to have some really strict cops there. But this is fine. Let's see what happens if I go up to hurry. If we jump up a ton or... All right, so we jumped up 5 miles an hour. So we're going 10 over now. Again, definitely 11 over. Definitely something that could get you pulled over. Just depends on, I guess, what the law enforcement's like in your area. But again, full stop, wait, and then go. Completely expected behavior. I use FSD nearly every day, and so I'm very used to that type of behavior. Again, zipping right back up to 11 or 12 over. Let's drop it back down to standard, just see how it reacts in real time. That's the thing, I don't think it is. Like if I drop it down to chill, then it reacts like significantly. But if I just drop it to standard from hurry, I don't get that drastic speed difference. So we're back in standard now. It'd be one thing, I think, if there were very specific increments that you could notice between the speed profiles, and maybe there are. I haven't tested them, obviously, in depth enough. But if it's like, if the speed limit's 35, hurry goes 45, Mad Max goes 55, standard goes 40. You know what I mean? There were specific set 5, 10, 20 mile an hour increments, and then I don't even know if that's the case. If Sloth goes exactly the speed limit or a little under, and Chill goes exactly the speed limit, I'm not sure. That would be something if you could very clearly one-to-one be like, all right, I'm in an area where I'm pretty open. Let's go ahead and crank it up to Mad Max. Going 20 over in this area is not going to hurt me. Everyone else is as well. But again, it's one of those things that FSD has to kind of interpret what it wants to do and how fast it wants to go. All right, that was a little brake stab right there. I don't know if it reflected on the um, speed display here, but a little and then go really quick, like your foot slipped almost. Oh, another one right there. Really tiny little jab. Again, we don't have any oncoming traffic. This is a wide open road. Um, I don't know. We do have rain, but I mean, that's not justified. This is something people are seeing across the board, so it's definitely something they're still trying to work out. All right, so we're getting to this park here, and I've got it set as parking lot. Yeah, parking lot, and it is going to park. So we'll see if it actually does that. This will be my first time having it park me intentionally. I've had in previous versions where it kind of would sometimes roughly put you in a parking spot, but this is supposed to be very intentional to search out a spot and put you there. Full stop and go. Let's see what we do here. All right. Looks like we are going to turn into this little parking spot area here. Sweet. And let's see if it parks me in something that's not a handicap spot. Okay. Um, Well, uh, see if I can give you guys a shot of what it just did here. There's one parking spot, and here's how I'm parked. Completely diagonally in between two parking spots. So that's pretty rough. I could tell it wasn't sure how to do it, right? So that is kind of what I would consider a complete fail. To be fair, well, there's not really that defined lines. There's only lines at the very end of the parking spot. They don't go all the way back. Interesting. All right, well, we'll consider the first one a failure. We'll try, obviously, another spot. We may need to try like a specific parking lot that has lines. I think it probably would have done better if there were cars, like if it tried to park between those two cars, but it just kind of threw me in the middle of, okay, a lot of brakes. Like you can see it has plenty of space up here, and it's stuttering on the brakes and then reversing again when it had all the space in the world. So definitely some early jitters here on this version. And it's interesting because I've seen some people, some of the big, Tesla influencers, if you want to call them that, guys I really like. I really like Dirty Tesla. I think he does a great job. AI Driver is one of my favorites. They give them out to these, Twitter heads or whatever that don't even know what they're talking. They're just putting out puff pieces about FSD and stuff. It's just kind of annoying. But the people that actually review this software and have used every version and provide valid criticism and valid compliments, they say certain versions were really good, and then we've still got some of the same issues. And I've definitely been seeing some people say that this version 14.1.4 has some rough spots, and I think we're seeing that. But I think you still have there's more brake stabbing right there. I think you still have the makings of a really solid version if you can get it more consistent. And I think that's kind of what people are wanting, because 13.2.9 was super, I mean, rock solid. You just had limitations, like it wouldn't park you. You didn't have the additional speed profiles. It wasn't as fluid in making decisions. Even back there, when we were going in and out of that parking spot, like when we were backing up, and when we first started, when we were in that business parking lot, it was like forward, reverse, forward, reverse, forward, reverse. Like it didn't kind of back up and then wait a second, then switch gears and then go back forward and then stop and wait a second. I mean, it's boom, 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 making decisions. So that already you can tell is a massive improvement over 13.2.9. It's just about ironing out those kinks, and you have to, to figure out the kinks, you have to do this, constant training on these vehicles. So the more vehicles you can get it to, the more training the models can do, and the better it can get. Again, 6 over in a 35. Again, it's not anything that's gonna probably get you in trouble, but this is still supervised. You still got to monitor it until Tesla's going to decide to take responsibility for it entirely, which who knows if that'll ever happen. We've got some, what is this, construction or some kind of road work up here. So we'll see. Again, to me, it feels like we're flying, but we're not going any crazy speed over the speed limit. It just feels very confident in the acceleration. Okay, yeah, so we've got cones and stuff. Looks like they're doing some work on the power lines up here. We've got room to sneak through right here. And we are doing that slowly. All right. No issue there. Come to a full stop here at this light. I can't see anything, so I'm sure it can't see much either. And we're good to go, yeah. Did want to mention, okay, we've got cones here blocking off this lane. Perfectly smooth, drifted right into the next lane. We've got an ambulance coming here. Little brake stabbing there. It was trying to see if the ambulance was going to go over. It did not. So we'll go ahead and get past it. Did want to mention, just meant to clear this up at the beginning. This is a hardware 4 vehicle. This is a 2025 Model 3 Performance, no front bumper camera. So please, please give me a retrofit option. I will pay a lot of money for a retrofit option. Just let me do it, please. All right, we're going 57 to 55. It kicked up to speed instantly. You almost don't even notice. There's not that like really hard acceleration to get up to speed. It just gradually ramps really aggressively. There is a Publix up here now. Let's see if we can get it to park in a parking spot correctly here at this Publix, and then we'll reroute. All right, we're going 60 and a 55. We've got oncoming stuff up here. I mean, it changed lanes instantly. The second I saw that, it saw that, and boom, it was changing lanes. That was beautifully done. This also is a turning lane only, so it may have been able to know that. I don't know if you can get to Publix from here. I don't think you can. I think it needs to go up here and do it, but I don't know. I don't think you know what you're doing. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never been to this Publix. I don't know. It looks like it thinks it can. Oh, maybe you can. That's like a dead end up there. Yeah, there's like a big like flood wall up here. No outlet. Yeah. All right, well, what are you going to do here, bud? I wonder if it'll reroute me or if it's just going to park me here. Are you turning around? Did you realize your errors? Maybe it did. Maybe it realized it can't. Or maybe we're going to park right here. That's what it did. Well, we're right outside some random person's house, so did not get me to Publix at all. Try it again, maybe? No, it's going to take me to the same spot. I needed to go here. Now, again, this is one of those things like, if you're just a normal person using this and this is like your first time experiencing FSD and you're like, oh, I'm going to have it drive me to Publix or whatever, and then it brings you to some random dead-end street that's where Publix is generally, like in the vicinity, but the navigation hasn't updated in the way to show that there's no way to access Publix from there, I can understand how that would be really frustrating. You know, I think as people that are testing it know, like, these types of things happen early on, and, you know, they usually get fixed, especially with something like this that quite literally just got finished being built. Maybe the navigation isn't updated for that. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad job by FSD. It should be able to see with the cameras, hey, we're not in a parking lot. We're at, you know, a random dead end. I'm not going to park here. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to keep searching for something that resembles a grocery store in a parking lot. And I think as the kind of AI component gets better, I think we'll see more of that type of interpretation of its surroundings. I think that can definitely get better. They have all of the infrastructure in place for real-time kind of machine learning on stuff like that. And we'll see if that actually comes to, you know, fruition down the line. But like, it should know better. That's not, very obviously not a parking lot. But when I force it to go up and around to how you actually get to Publix, which is you can go in right there, or you can come in up here and turn in right here, or you can turn in up here. Actually, that's not an entrance, but you can turn in up here, which is what I'm forcing it to do now. We'll see if it actually puts us in some nice painted white lines, because this place is brand new, so it should have that. See how close to the building it'll get me. Okay, so it is coming up to the front of the building here. Full stop and go. I don't think I have it. No, I have it park at a parking lot. So it did bring me like around more to the front, which I appreciate. It didn't park me way out on the edge. Those are pickup only spots, so we can't park there. Any of these spots are fine. Any of them. We're just driving past them. So, interesting. We're just like going in a circle. What is that? What are we doing? You're taking me to the exact point that I put down. That's what you're doing. All right, we're at Publix now. Can you just park me in a spot? It's trying to take me to the exact point instead of realizing we're at a spot already. We're here. Just park me in a parking spot. I've got it set to set in. I've got it set to parking garage, parking lot. Okay, now I've got it set. It was set to parking garage for some reason. All right, we're at the point. Now park me in a spot. Good job on not going that way. Yeah, good, good. Now parking spot. Any of these are fine. What do you know? Beautiful. Thank you. That only took intense prompting. I can't exactly see because I don't have a front bumper camera how close we are up front, but the lines look great. We got plenty of space on both sides. I think this is perfectly fine. I can see I've got a ton of space in the back, so that's perfectly fine. All right, cool. Well, with intense prompting, we finally made it to a spot. All right, one more destination. Again, you don't have to hold, you just tap and it goes, which I really like that. Feels more smooth than holding. And at the very end of the video, I'll try one more parking lot. After we kind of wind back through here, I'll find one more little place. Again, we got more space to back up, but it's fine, it's whatever. I'll find one more parking lot that's like a more defined, like a long time place that's existed for a while, that's not brand new on the navigation, and see if we can just pull up, park right away, because I think that'll be a nice test. I've put it in some pretty weird parking situations with a lot that has next to no lines and then a quite literally brand new place that's not on the navigation. So I'm not making excuses for it. It still handled it poorly, but there's at least some reasoning as to why. Okay, another pretty significant brake stab and slam on the brakes there. Let go. And I have noticed it kind of ignoring the navigation sometimes. Like when we were down there in that neighborhood, it kind of went up and it was supposed to go right, but it just completely ignored the navigation and went left. And I have heard that it's kind of a common thing that it's doing recently. So I actually want it to go this way. This road's kind of a little bit treacherous back through here, so let's see how it does. And we'll go ahead and bump that up to hurry. So the speed limit on a lot of these curves back here, which are kind of tight, 15 miles an hour. I just want to see how it handles it back here. We got a narrow road with a lot of winding, kind of dips and railroad tracks and things. If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that when I was testing an old version up in this area, I encountered someone in a bobsled in the middle of the road. So or some kind of bike that looked like a bobsled, but it was some kind of bike where you lay down. I don't know, it was wild, but it was right up here. All right, little tiny brake stab right there. Again, it probably doesn't reflect. It is so quick. And I heard people mention it, like how you can't really see it, you can only feel it. And I was like, I don't. But they're definitely right. It is like it's almost like it's like when you blink too hard, you know what I mean? It's like that. It gets so quick. So we're going 12 over in hurry. Let's drop that down to standard. So I feel some slowdown. All right, now we're only going 10 over. So interesting. The speed profiles are very interesting to me. I can't see it all. Brake stabbing and brake, 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 brake. You had to have seen that. That was the worst it's been. That was like some kind of trap beat. Boom, 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 boom. Last test. I swear this video is getting long, but we'll test out going to this golf club, see if it'll park me in the parking lot at the golf club, and we'll decide whether or not this entire drive was a success or not. Oh, we got a Cybertruck right here, wrapped in black. Looks good. I would say, kind of as we're working our way there, you know, on the whole, I don't know. I don't know really how to interpret this. I didn't see or feel a whole lot that felt a ton better than 13.2.9. I think some of the confidence moves, like I said at the beginning, the kind of reversing course back and forth thing, that felt a little bit more consistent and like it knew what it was doing. But a lot of these, like coming to a stop at the stop sign and then pulling out and then brake stabbing a million times, it just feels less confident than 13.2.9, but technically has more capability than that version did. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to determine entirely, especially with kind of the fails that we had with parking not at a Publix when we were going to a Publix and then it going in the wrong way and some weird stuff for sure. A lot of weird stuff. On the good end, I'd say that we did successfully, it did successfully put us in a parking spot, seemingly intentionally, which was nice. And there wasn't a ton else than that. I don't know. I can't think of many other great things it did. Let's see how it handles these speed bumps. That could be a good test. Because 13.2.9 still struggled with some speed bumps. No issues there. I think one thing we could give it some actual credit for is how smoothly it handled those kind of windy roads as we were kind of whipping in and out. It had some nice non-jerky like acceleration. So it would really hit a curve going, the moderate speed to make that curve reasonable for the passengers, and then it would boost right up to speed, and then it would kind of ease in and ease out. So that kind of speed easing, I think, was really good. Oh, there's another little brake stab there. That's just something I've noticed basically the entire drive, and it definitely needs sorted out. And I kind of was surprised. I know I mentioned it kind of in the negatives category, but I was kind of surprised on how much stuttering it did when coming up to turns. Like it didn't come to the stop, ease up, notice there was no one, and go. It was like, which I just really hadn't noticed a lot of in past versions. All right, we're 0.3 miles away. We're going 30 and a 25. This is kind of what I was talking about. This is in standard. All right, we're a little under now, 28. These are huge houses back here. All right, here is the drive for the golf club, and it should have an actual parking lot. We've got it set to parking lot. We've got it set to park. So that is what we should do. No indecisiveness, just find a spot and park. And not in a handicap spot if possible. All right. We are in the parking lot. We missed a lot of parking spots that we went right past. And are we backing in? Looks like we are backing in. All right. Again, this is interesting. Oh, it's picking a different one. Okay. It originally was picking the one next to it, but it couldn't make the turn or whatever, so it picked a different one. And we are slowly but surely backing in. Yep, you just even out and go back. Yep. And it's keeping me away from this bush, which is nice. Okay, that did it. We've got plenty of room on both sides. We're nice and far away from that bush, but still in the spot as far as I can tell. So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. That was kind of a mixed bag. Now, Tesla has been kind of cranking out updates, so we may not be on 14.1.4 for very long, and hopefully we can see some nice improvements on the next version, but kind of one of those things that did some good things, did some bad things, did some okay things. Again, I really want to see it just smoothed out overall, because if you can have those quick responsive decisions like it was making early on, but just smooth it out so you don't get the brake stabbing, you don't get the hesitations, you don't get the kind of not picking the right parking spots. Like there were parking spots up there that it could have picked for me that would have been way closer to my actual destination. And again, those were updates we did see in the release notes, parking spot selection and parking quality. So we know those improvements are coming. But I'm excited that I finally have FSD version 14. I can test it more, put it in some tougher situations. I've seen people take it through drive-throughs with varying levels of success. I've seen different parking structures. So if you guys want to see me test those different things, drop a comment down below. But if you all enjoyed the video, drop a like. Again, let me know in the comments what you think, what your experience has been so far. If you're using FSD version 14.1.4, let's talk about it down in the comments. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.